Hey, Main here, and this is Sonic Triple Trouble. This is basically the closest the 8-bit Sonic games have to Sonic 3 and Knuckles. Only, you never actually get to play as Knuckles in this game. Knuckles doesn't have his own story. There's actually a level select code for this game, where you hold up while starting the game until Knuckles grabs the 3rd emerald in the intro. And then you press start and get through the character select screen to get to level select. So the level select sounds a lot easier than in every other Sonic game. We don't actually know where this game takes place. Like, the instruction manuals say that the previous 8-bit Sonic games, Sonic 1, 2, and Chaos, they all took place on South Island, just like Sonic 1 for the Genesis. But we don't know where this game takes place. Maybe it takes place on Angel Island, because why else would Knuckles be there as an antagonist? He's there as an antagonist just like in his previous appearance, which this game is thoroughly referencing. And this was before Knuckles started to... This was before they stopped really focusing on the fact that Knuckles was the guardian of the Master Emerald. So it makes a lot less sense for him to be here and not on Angel Island guarding the Emerald. So, it's probably on Angel Island. Something I really love about this game that they introduced is the mid-air spin. Basically, if you bounce off a spring and you press the A button, then you'll curl into a ball. And this allows you to damage enemies rather than being completely vulnerable after being launched by a spring. Which is fantastic. It helps make the game less cheap. That's something that every Sonic game should do, and it really annoys me that they don't do that anymore. Like, you could say that this is part of what makes the game so easy, but it's really only one tiny factor. I think the mid-air spin is a great way of solving a problem that many Sonic games have, where you get launched by a spring straight into an enemy. But if you could do the mid-air spin, that wouldn't be an issue. This game has basically the same controls as Sonic Chaos does, but they're a little better. Like, you no longer have the problem of you spin dash into a spring that sends you up a slope, but you don't go up it all the way. It doesn't have that problem anymore. This level is a lot like the first level of Sonic Chaos. Like, the main gimmick is that there's a massive amount of springs everywhere. Like, a lot of people complain about there being too many springs in Sonic 4, but this game, it has a lot of springs as well. Although I think Sonic CD is the Sonic game that did it first, having a lot of springs everywhere. I wouldn't be surprised if this had the same music as the first level of Sonic Chaos, because they already basically took the name. Although that just makes the fact that this game takes place on a different location from the previous game all the more confusing. Because there's Great Turquoise, but it's in a completely different location from Turquoise Zone, or Turquoise Hill. The problem with the mid-air spin is that it's kind of a guide dang it, because unless you looked at the controls on Sonic Adventure DX while booting up this game, which you wouldn't have if you were playing this on the original Game Gear, you have no way of knowing that you have the mid-air spin at all, because it appears only in this game. So if you don't know that you have that attack, this boss will be unbeatable for you. You gotta mash the A button really quickly when you bounce off the spring, because you're only curled up into a ball for a short amount of time, which is extremely stupid. You can't just stay in ball form for as long as you want. Like, the first time I tried this game out after unlocking it, I died to this boss because I didn't pay attention to the controls prompt. Because the controls are the same for practically every 2D Sonic game. Ugh, Knuckles. Okay, how does fire send you to the next level instead of burning Sonic to death? I mean, he has rings that would keep him invincible, but we don't see rings get knocked out of him. The level transitions for this game make no sense. Here's his idle animation. He looks so playful. It's kind of cute. I like the music for this level, and I especially love its gimmick. I'm not really sure how you're supposed to know this, but rapidly spin dash in these minecarts, and that's how you make them go. And you can go so fast in these things, and they blast through enemies and damage them. I love that. But when I first played the game, I had no idea that you even could spin dash in these things, let alone that you could spin dash rapidly. So this is basically I guess a train station level, because we run after a train later on. So I guess this is a train level, and this is really unique for a Sonic game. Plus, there's a beautiful sunset sky in the background, which I love. There's also these annoying fans that seem pretty pointless. The level transitions of this game aren't nearly as smooth as the ones from Sonic 3 and Knuckles, because it shows you the Sonic got through Act 2 screen after you beat Act 2, even though there's a level transition before that. Of course, in Sonic 3 and Knuckles, you would have a level transition, and then you would see the title card for the next level. And it's not like you would go from one level to the next, and the title card would be on the screen while you were loaded into the stage simultaneously. So the level transitions were entirely smooth in the Sonic Knuckles either. What I hate how the Rocket Shoes music was changed in Triple Trouble. I don't know why they did that. Because the music for Chaos was perfect, because it was very easy to predict when it would end. The music for the Rocket Shoes, you need 50 rings when breaking that item box to go to the special stage. It's not good enough that you just find it. Oh no. Yeah, as you can tell, I didn't bother getting all the Chaos Emeralds. I'm still gonna show off all the special stages, though. I love this music. The theme of Sunset Park Act 3 was actually an unused song from Sonic Chaos, but it was in a lower pitch in this game, so it sounds better here. This level, I guess, is pretty boring because it drags on forever and you're just doing the exact same thing over and over again. You're just jumping into enemies and don't fall into the lower parts of the floor, because then you'll probably get crushed or get hurt or something. And there's no checkpoint right before the boss, so if you die to it, you gotta go through the entire thing all over again. I actually got a game over on the boss on the second time I played this game. You jump into him, and then it moves forwards. It's moving towards you, and now it's moving forwards, and now it's, ugh. So as you can see, it's harder than you'd expect to jump into the boss. And you gotta dodge the spike ball coming at you as well. And if you lose your rings, it's pretty difficult to get them back as a result. It is an easy boss, though. And now we've got Meta Junglira. What's Junglira supposed to mean, anyways? I guess it's the Spanish word for jungle, but I doubt it. I'm not really sure what the meta is supposed to mean either. The annoying thing about this level is that it has the breakable orange bumpers from Collision Chaos and Sonic CD. I forgot that they were in Sonic CD when I was playing this game, but yeah, they were first introduced there. So my least favorite thing about this level is that there's so many of these things all over the place. And if you keep holding forwards, you'll keep your momentum. So it's not so bad, because you can get through them pretty fast, but what do these fields of bumpers contribute to level design? They don't add anything positive at all. They shouldn't be there. You've also got cannons from Donkey Kong Country. And invisible springs, wonderful. I never liked the concept of invisible springs. I haven't mentioned this yet, but the red springs send you a lot further than the yellow springs do. That's the case for all 2D Sonic games. I think they brought them back in later Sonic games, but I don't entirely remember, but I think they just act exactly like the other springs. I haven't played much of the later Sonic games, though, at this point. Like, I played up to Unleashed, and oh yeah, I played Generations 3, yes, but that's about it. I have so many continues at this point. Like, I've got 2 continues, and I can't even have this trick where I go into the first special stage and spam it to get a whole bunch of lives and continues. I'm just getting the continues effortlessly. And you don't see a score indicator on the interface, so I don't know how many points I have. Unfortunately, the interface is still covered up by the level design. You'd think they would have fixed that by now. Something they did fix, however, is the life counter. Yep, they actually bothered to include a second digit this time. You probably noticed in my Sonic 2 for the Master System playthrough that I was always stuck at 9 lives by the time I got to Green Hill Zone. And that's not because I was using Infinite Lives cheat. That's because the life counter stops going up when it reaches 9. So it stops telling you how many lives you have when you reach 9. I mean, I wouldn't be able to cheat even if I wanted to in that game because I was playing it on the Wii Virtual Console. So, and you could very clearly tell when I was playing it on an emulator. And I think I was using Infinite Lives that time, I think. Although it would have been redundant since I had save states anyways. But you don't really need to grind lives for this game. This game is pretty easy. Really, the hardest part of this game is easily the boss fights. The boss fights are incredibly tedious. Like, you are guaranteed to get hit by them multiple times in a row. They're so cheap. You still have basically the same power-ups from the previous game. You have the spring shoes and everything. And I think the goalposts do the same thing as Sonic Chaos, but I'm not entirely sure about that. So now we're going into one of the most annoying bosses in the game. I mean, granted, it's sort of like Sonic Chaos, where you can cheese the boss by just getting to the top of it and repeatedly bouncing on its head. Okay, hold left. Just keep holding left after you get hit the spring, and then you'll break through the bumpers and get to that ring. But I had to look up a guide to find out how to get rings for this boss. And you pretty much need rings to beat this boss. It's so easy for you to get hit here. Thankfully, it's not like the previous 8-bit Sonic games, where it was really hard, if not possible, to get your rings back when you lost them. But yeah, you can make this boss easy by just staying on top of its head, like this. But it's surprisingly difficult to get into that position to begin with. And so many bosses in this game have a last resort attack. I hate that. It always feels like a Kaizo trap when that happens. Like, I just want to beat the boss already. And you'd think that standing still and then spin dashing when it's about to fall into you would work, but no. Remember when you were fighting the final boss of Super Mario World, and then fire would rain down on you from the ceiling? Well, it's a lot harder to dodge it in this game because Sonic takes forever to accelerate to an acceptable speed. like he usually does in the classic games. And he even takes a while to start bursting forwards from a spin dash, so it's not nearly as easy as you'd expect to dodge the falling fire. See you in the next part.